Sometimes you have to give people what they want in order to get them to take what they need. If that is your game plan for how you choose what you sell on the front end, that's where we're set up for failure. What we sell matters, because what we sell is going to set us up for success on how we can scale what we're selling, and also set us up for success on how much can we afford to deliver what we're selling. Someone is not going to listen to you until they give you money. That is when the coaching journey starts. You're only going to be able to work with the people who already know what you know. And so that is not a way to 10x your business, and most importantly, 10x the impact that you're having. We have to be able to get to a point to where we can go from how much money do we put into a funnel. What we need to be able to do is put $1 into this and know that on the back end, we can multiply that dollar. That is as simple as it gets. How to 10x your gym or your transformation coaching business in 2025. We're gearing up for the new year, and so I'm making this video here at the end of 2024, and I want to help you do something that is going to be really critical for you, which is to think about what should your business look like heading into 2025 for you to be able to not just increase it, right? Not just double it, triple it, but to actually 10x, whether that's your gym, whether you sell online high-ticket body transformation programs, or whether you have a wellness business that you operate where you help people transform, you help them lose weight, you help them improve their life. And so my name is Josh Ponton. I'm one of the owners here of Asher Med and Patient Stream, which is going to be a marketing agency and a medical weight loss company. And the reason why I recommend listening to this is because my business partners and I, over the last decade plus, have generated over $10 million in revenue just for ourselves personally through wellness business sales. But most importantly, for our clients, we've generated over $100 million in new revenue. That's new revenue coming in through client acquisition, through marketing, through sales, all being around transformation programs. These are things that are going to be, I wish I would have known, my first year opening up my first gym. Things that I wish I would have known, even a couple years in at scaling. Things that could have saved me so much time, saved me so much stress, and it probably would have made me even more money and more profit. This first video here, I want to give you the blueprint and really cover 4 main things. And so let's kind of look at this here. So when we're looking at what we want to understand, we want to understand these 4 things by the end of this video. And that's going to be, what do you actually sell? What is your front end offer? What do you focus on selling going into the new year? Number 2, client financed acquisition. What does that mean? Why does it matter to you? And why do you need to make sure that this is something you are achieving going into the new year? Number 3, nurture and sell system. What should those things look like for your business? And number 4, post-sale fulfillment, right? How do we increase the longevity? How long people are staying with us in the business? How do we increase how much they're spending with us in the business, aka increasing their lifetime value? If we can understand these 4 things, you can set a business up to have massive growth, because even just a little bit of an improvement in all of these areas can create multiples of effect into your business, how much profit you're taking home, how much impact you're making, and most importantly, the vision that you have carrying that forward and building the business that you dreamed of when you first got started. Let's dive into the first key point here is, what do I sell, right? What is the most important thing that you need to be able to sell in your transformation gym, in your body transformation program, that's going to allow you to be set up to have the most amount of success? When I first started my gym, I made the mistake of doing what probably everyone does when they start a business, is I looked around me and I looked at what are they selling so I can sell the same thing but for a cheaper price. And so the issue with that, especially if we're talking about a gym business here, is when you look around you, not all gyms are created equal. If that is your game plan for how you choose what you sell on the front end, that's where we're set up for failure. And so for myself, I looked around and I saw, man, there's a lot of $10 a month gyms, right, that are open gym concept. It's not really what we fit into. There's a lot of different outdoor boot camps, different indoor boot camps that are around X amount of pricing. And I look at most of them, what they do is they offer a free workout. I guess from there, they try and sell you on a membership. And so that's the model I started with. But the issue with that model is that when you're moving with that and you're just offering a free workout or a discounted, session or a, really low barrier option, it doesn't give you the ability to be able to scale exponentially. You can't really afford to spend a lot of money, right, on getting those people in the door. When they do get in the door, they're already set at a very low standard of buying process, right? They're more Groupon type shoppers. They're looking for the discount. They're comparing your pricing to the gym down the street. And so now it's harder to get them to purchase something that's even a little bit more higher ticket, or just to get them to purchase your normal standard monthly gym membership. And so what we sell matters, because what we sell is going to set us up for success on how we can scale what we're selling, and also set us up for success on how much can we afford to deliver what we're selling. And so the way I like to look at this, of kind of a funny story, is like, let's just say that we have our, Susie over here, right? Susie's sad, Susie is not too happy about her current situation right now. And then we look over here and we look at, okay, where does Susie want to be, right? We want happy Susie. That's the best you're going to get from me on drawing right now. But that's where we look at. And so this is where our prospects are coming to us. This is where they have the most pain, they have the most desire, right? This is where they feel the impact of where they are the most. This is starting point A. And when we look at where we want to get them, point B over here is going to be where they achieve their goals. And so us as coaches, we have seen B so many times that we understand exactly what Susie needs to get here. We understand that Susie does not need a fat diet plan. We understand that Susie does not need some magical supplement. We understand that Susie does not need, some specific HIIT style workout, right? We understand what Susie needs is going to be in a calorie deficit. We understand Susie needs some weight training, right? We understand that Susie just needs consistency. And if Susie has all those different things, she's going to be successful. But the problem is we know that. Susie does not know that. And so if we want to be able to actually get Susie to start, right, to actually start walking forward here, we have to be able to get Susie to take action. And so this is where we have to make a choice. What we think is the right route, right? What we think is the way that everyone should do it, that everyone should know, the science behind it. Do we want to let that stop us from helping Susie get started? Because if so, that is an option, and that is okay. But what's going to happen is you are not going to have that many Susies ever get started in your business, which means that you're only going to be able to work with the people who already know what you know, right? Or just the few people that stumble into your business from referrals, word of mouth, and things like that. And so that is not a way to 10x your business, and most importantly, 10x the impact that you're having. And so what we have to do is we have to figure out, how do we get more Susies to start and then get them to point B once they're getting started. And so a couple little lessons here. First off, someone is not going to listen to you until they give you money. That is when the coaching journey starts. The coaching journey does not start before that. A story that I just, always love, and it's the story of, this little boy goes to grandma's house and, he sees a dog scratching like crazy. Grandma says, hey, dog has fleas. Feed it some garlic. You feed it some garlic, it's gonna sweat out the fleas. Now, no, that's not true, but that's the story. So boy goes to give the dog garlic. Dog won't eat the garlic. Goes back to grandma. Grandma's like, silly boy, you have to wrap it in ham. Boy does that, gives it to the dog, fleas are gone. And so the lesson from that story, or a powerful story where I think first I heard that from was my first business coach, Alex Hermosi. And the lesson from that story is that sometimes you have to give people what they want in order to get them to take what they need. And so if we're trying to shove down all of our prospects' throats what they need, without giving them what they want, then that's when we're going to have a struggle to grow as a business owner. When we look at through all the data, through the hundreds and hundreds of wellness business owners that I've worked with, that is going to be some type of transformation program. That makes it so much easier for Susie to feel like she's starting a transformation program that's going to allow her to get started. And then what can happen then is along the way, you start to teach her, you start to coach her, you show her long-term success, you show her what this really is all about throughout that transformation program, and then now leading into her being a long-term client. Now that we understand what do we sell, we now need to understand this concept of something called client-financed acquisition. So I did not make this up. This came from a mentor of mine, Alex Hermosi, which probably also came from a mentor of his. This is just an age-old thing that matters when it comes to marketing and sales and scaling your marketing and sales, is that we have to be able to get to a point to where we can go from how much money do we put into a funnel, right? So let's just say you have your marketing funnel here that you're going to put money into. What we need to be able to do is put $1 into this and know that on the back end, we can multiply that dollar. That is it. That is as simple as it gets with client finance acquisition. And so to kind of put this a little bit more into perspective, this is what means that you can have a marketing budget one time. You only have to set a budget one time. Maybe you start with, let's just say that you're going to start with $100 here, right? So you spend $100 on marketing. And what happens is you spend $100 on marketing. Let's say that gets you 10 leads. Of those 10 leads, let's say that, 6 of them book an appointment. Of those 6 that book, let's say that 3 actually show up. And of those 3 that show up, let's say one of them purchases one of those transformation programs. And so this is where we're gonna get into a complete side note here. The other reason why a transformation program is so beautiful is because you can charge a higher ticket amount than your normal standard monthly gym membership fee. Someone may see themselves spending $200 a month max at a gym membership, right, of a kind of group coaching facility, but on a 6-week program or a transformation program, they're willing to spend $600 plus. It's because you're stacking so much value with that. You're giving a set destination, right? That's what you're doing, which is why someone will spend more on it. So let's just say for you here, you're selling a $500 6-week program, right? So what happens here now is you put $100 in, and then on the back end, you were able to generate $500, right? So let's just say you put $100 in, that same day you get 10 leads, you get 6 bookings, you get these 6 bookings are probably booked out if you do it right over the next 48 hours. So then with the next 2 days, you have 3 people show up, you only get one of them to close, pay you $500, and so you put $100 in, and 3 days later, you have $500 back. That is client financed acquisition. Now you can, go ahead and take $100 from this, put it right back into the same funnel. You have $400 left over for operating costs, profit, all of those good things there. You have the $100 bringing you one more person in. Now you have another $500. And now maybe this time, instead of putting $100 back in, you put $200 back in. And now you can keep scaling that without ever having to worry about a marketing budget. And so this is so powerful. This is why having the right front end offer matters, because you can't do this off of just a, hey, $3 first time membership, or, whatever it may be, or $7 for 7 days, or just your average monthly, hey, free consultation for a membership, right? Because it can be tough to be able to make the same process work with that type of offer. But if you have an appealing transformation offer, now you can see the possibility of what can happen and how fast this can scale if you're doing it properly. So doing it properly is where I want to get into next. And that's going to come through for us looking at what is our systems that we have to run to be able to do this correctly. And so when we look at our systems that we have to run, this gives me the next point, which is the first 2 things that we have to look at is going to be our lead nurture and our sales system. Because we talked about that funnel, right? You can take $100, you put it in, you have X amount of bookings, you have 3 people show up, you have 1 people close. That all sounds great on paper. But once you have those leads in, now we have to answer the question of, okay, cool, how do we get them to book? How do we get them to show? And once they're in the door, how do we get them to close? And so this is why having a quality lead nurture and sales system is going to matter. And so if right now you cannot tell me or send me your SOP or your document, whatever it may be, where you map out your lead nurture system, you map out your sales system, then I'm telling you right now, it will be almost impossible for you to have client financed acquisition, right? Unless you just get lucky. But unfortunately, the days of, old school Facebook ads, Instagram ads, social media ads, where you can just put money in, it can crank, it can generate dollar leads to where you have so much flow to where you can jack these things up and still have success, those days are over. The money you have to spend on marketing now to get an eyeball is going to be higher. But the cool part is that is okay, and it can still be wildly profitable as long as you have the systems in place to actually make that function. And so when we look at a lead nurture system, there's a couple of different things here that we actually really care about. Number 1 is going to be what happens at opt-in. What happens when we actually get a lead? Number 2, it's going to weigh what happens in confirmation. And number 3 is going to be what happens in our follow-up. Okay, and so these are the 3 kind of basic things that we should have a system around when it comes to doing lead nurture. Harvard Business Study did a study that I loved where it showed that they could 4x a business by simply increasing their speed to lead. And so they found that when they can get that down underneath 3 minutes, right? 3 minutes when someone actually opts in during business hours, they can 4x the amount of appointments booked, 4x the amount of sales, and 4x, new revenue coming in. There are very few things that you can do in your business that will give you a 400x increase than something like that. And so this is critical. So if you do not have a person in place, a system in place to where your leads, as soon as they opt in during business hours, can be contacted within 3 minutes or less, we are missing out on the massive opportunity here. And so now this video is not to dive deep into lead nurture, all that stuff there. I'll give you other videos coming up that will go way more tactical here, but that's the first thing you need to be able to answer is, can you have speed to lead? If you can do this, you already have one major pillar in place. Now, number 2 is going to be our confirmation process. Just because we have speed to lead, we call someone, we get them booked, but how do we make sure that we can increase their show percentage by having the right scripting tonality, the right process in place for how we qualify and confirm appointments that are in the schedule. A couple tips how I'm going to give you here. Number one, never book out more than 72 hours. Really, you want to be booked out within 48 hours. So you should have enough sales availability where you can make that happen, because the further you book people out, the further you let them confirm appointments, you let them book for, the less likelihood they're actually going to show up. Number two is this is a sell, right? No, you're not selling your package. You're not giving details. You're not going through pricing. You're not doing all that over the phone, but you are selling the appointment. We talked about speed to lead, confirmation, scripting. So now our follow-up process matters. And so this is where I see, when we see a lot of clients of ours really drop the ball here, is because of the little amount of volume that they reach here. And so what this is all about, it's about volume. Doesn't take a lot of skill, but it takes a lot of effort. And so things that we're looking at for here that can give you some tips on is, number one is going to be within the first 5 business days of someone opting in, they should have 3 touch points per day. First part of the day, double dial, right? Double dial. So you can skip past the automatic voicemail, or if they have it on silent, you can skip past that. Follow up with a text message. Call again in the afternoon. Follow up with a text message or email. Call again at the end of the day, follow up, right? So you do that for 5 days straight. Now, after that, there is a little bit of a less likelihood of getting a pickup or actually working out to your benefit. So unless you have a full call center, a full lead nurture team, then from there, we recommend that after those 5 days, you put them into a drip sequence where you're consistently reaching out to them. So that way you can make sure that you're not just relying on new leads coming into that funnel, but you have a drip sequence going out to where you're always getting some of those past leads, people who never just found time to come in. They got busy, they got distracted. You're always still marketing them because you already paid for that lead. And so it doesn't cost you money to send that text message. It costs like 0.01 cents per text message. It doesn't cost you money to send the email. So that's something that you should consistently do with your leads list as it grows, because the next thing you know, you'll have bookings coming in from leads that were from 6 months ago. And it will start to stack and help you compound and take more advantage of the paid client finance acquisition system that you are running. And so this is really important that we have a solid lead nurture system in place. And then when we look at the sales system, I'm not going to go deep on this because I'm actually going to make a follow-up video to this that will dive into how to 10x your sales. But when we look at your sales system, there's really a couple things that we want to make sure that we have in place. Number one is we want to make sure that we have something in place called the pre-consult process. This is everything that happens before we actually sit down and go into discovery. Then we have our consult script. Don't get scared by that word scripting. It's a process, but it matters. And then from here, what we have is going to be our pitch, close, and what I like to call expectations. And so these 3 things are what you would have within a great sales system process. You would have a pre-consult process, everything that happens from, when they walk in the door to when they get to the consult. Everything that happens during the consult, what's said, what questions are we asking, how are we digging for pain, digging for desires, and then how do we pitch on what we're offering, how do we pitch on that program, how do we close and overcome objections, and how do we set expectations that are going to leave the person in a really solid state of not having buyer's remorse or calling you back and saying, hey, my husband said this, actually, can I go ahead and just cancel? And so these 3 things, if you have a system in place for this, if you have a Google Doc that has an SOP outlining all these 3 things, again, you are now set up for success to achieve client financed acquisition.